Guys, it's Ashley with At Home with Ashley. I have been working on my master bedroom. We've wallpapered, we painted, added in a bunch of the furniture, but it still felt a little bit sad and not complete, and that's because we don't have art in here. Art changes everything, and I wanted something over the bed, but I did this crazy pink wallpaper, and so I just needed something textural and neutral to kind of calm it down a little bit. So I've been wanting to do a woven wall hanging, and I've looked everywhere for them, but the problem is I wanted something wide and skinny over the bed, and I couldn't find something in my colors I wanted, in the size I wanted, and in the budget I had. So you gotta make it. And I decided to make it with a bath mat, which sounds crazy, but I think it'll turn out good. So let's make it together. All right, here is the wall that I decided to put the wall hanging on. It's really cute, but there is a lot of wallpaper. So I grabbed this bath mat. This is the key ingredient. And I also grabbed some yarn, some trim, and then these tiny little baby tassels, which I thought would be bigger, but they're not. So at first I was gonna hang it vertically on the wall, but then once I pulled it up, I was like, oh, maybe horizontal will actually fit this space better. And that's what I ended up going with. But I wanted the trim at the bottom, so I just used some heavy-duty sewing scissors and trimmed off the trim on the sides so that I could reuse it on the bottom. To do that, I just used some hot glue and attached each piece one by one. There's a lot of gluing in this project. To use the tassel trim, you just need to pull the string off the bottom so then it's all cute and fringy like that. And then I simply glued it on. Like I said, this project, you need a lot of hot glue, but that means anybody can do it, which is kind of fun. So I just glued that on, and I ended up doing, I think, 5 or 6 rows of this tassel trim. And then I ended up topping it off with the little tiny baby tassels, which actually ended up being cute because they're a bit of a different color, and the size makes it add a little bit of interest to the wall hanging. And then because I had a tiny bit more tassel trim, I played with it and ended up doing this kind of semicircle on the top, which I thought was pretty fun. So I glued that on and then added the rest of the tassels on top of it. There was 100 tassels in that package and I used all of them. So now it's time to make some tassels. So to do this, I just wrap yarn around a book. I go 20 times around and around, and I ended up making a bunch of them for this project, and it took me about 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes to make each one. So now I am putting trim on the end of it, and this is what will be the top of the tassel. So I'm just tying this off with a knot, and once that's all tightened up, what I'm going to do is pull the string off the book. The book is what determines the size of your tassel, so I used the smallest one I had on hand. And sorry, I'm out of the camera screen a little bit. I was obviously concentrating super hard. So now I'm making the top of the tassel. I just wrap string around the top and then tie a knot, and that's what you end up with, a cute little tassel. And like I said, I made a million of these, or what it felt like a million of them. And I just sat down and watched a show and tied them off. It's actually kind of like therapeutic or relaxing to do it. And then once I had them where I wanted, I just used some hot glue and glued them right on. And this is, you guys, it's so easy. I promise anybody can make it. To hang the wall hanging on, I needed a dowel for the top. We ended up having this random one when we bought the house, so I just used the one that was in our house. We cut it down to 30 inches. And then to attach it to the bath mat, all I did was I put heavy duty string onto a needle, and it took me a while to thread the needle. So what I did was I had a really long tail and threaded it once, and then made loops onto the dowel, and then sewed around them so each loop would stay, and then just kept going so that I wouldn't have to rethread the needle. And it's been it worked great. Nothing has fallen or anything like that. So now to hang it on the wall, I simply just held it above the bed, and then I marked with my finger where center was, and I grabbed a hammer and a nail, and at this point I'm just looking at the point where my finger was. I put the nail there and I hammer it in. So that's how I get my perfect spot. At this point, I decided that the wall hanging was too sparse on the top 2/3. I thought those tassels looked a little bit silly, so I went to the store and I grabbed some matching yarn and I made even more tassels, and then I just glued those on and it really filled it in. So mostly what you're seeing is like thick stringy yarn, which I think is really pretty and plush. Okay, so there is the woven wall hanging. I am super happy with how it came together. It really checked all the boxes for me. Textural, neutral, and filled the space in nicely. I love it. It feels like cozy and warm in here too, which I really appreciate. I am going to do a breakdown for exactly how much all the materials cost and links to everything on my blog. I'll link to that below in the description box. And also, if you guys wouldn't mind giving it a thumbs up if you like this video, and subscribe. Thank you so much. Have a great day.